kicking off here in Townsville for round one, the first ever FIA Formula 4 Championship in Australia.
The first two race winners are off the front row. They actually take the second quickest time from qualifying, and that's what sets us the grid. Jimmy Vernon cruelly denied of a race win earlier, and Tom Randall actually excluded from qualifying, so he has to come from the back in this one once again. Green flag at the back. We've seen two exciting races. We've seen different winners, but who will take out the first ever round? Will Brown to the right, Jordan Lloyd to the left, both from Toowoomba, and the red lights are on. Away we go. Brown is dead set beaten away from the jump, and Jimmy Vernon might just sneak into second here. It was a great start for Jordan Lloyd, but Vernon has wrestled second away, and if not, he should at least get the inside run. No, Will Brown prevails around the outside. Bravery through turn one.
Looks like they're all being very careful so far through turn one, side by side. That's Harry Hayek, car 26, the rookie with the yellow number plate there. Will Brown defended quite well. Jimmy Vernon got a nice start. And around the outside there, that's one of the BRM cars. A lot of lock up and smoke, but Lloyd has bolted so far.
He got through turn three, which is where he made that error in race one, and this is a much better start. Keep an eye for Nick Rowe as well. He's back in 8th at the moment in car 14, which is the Jayco signed car itself. And he was second in both races and on for a podium here. Oh, someone running wide. There was a good battle going on. And it's actually Will Brown who's dropping back there. So Will Brown lost a few spots, and that might be enough to punt him off the podium. Look at that, he's lost 3 or 4 there.
11 laps in this one. Seen a few incidents down here at turn 11 this weekend. They're all getting through on the first lap. So there's Drew Ridge. Oh, and Brown just slotting in. So he goes to show that you make one small mistake and you just lose so much momentum. Only 160 horsepower, not a lot of power to pull back out of the corner again if you do come in a bit too hot.
Whoa, Drew
Ridge is flying.
With a big slipstream, he looks to the inside at turn 2. Vernon doesn't want to be turned around twice there in one weekend, so he gives him some space and actually gets a great cutback out of turn 2, but might be bold enough to go late under brakes. Not quite. Tom Gretsch has made up some spots here. He's having his best run for the weekend, up to 6th. Will Brown now back to 8th. And that was enough to slot Nick Rowe to 2nd for the weekend. Brown hanging onto that last spot at the podium at the moment.
Up to 5th gear, back to 2nd for Thomas Gretsch through here. On the throttle, you can just notice the difference in a single-seater car, how early they're committed to the throttle to get out of that slingshot over the big bump. 5th gear down here, full throttle through that big left-hand turn, turn 10. This could be a replay of the start. So Will Brown on the rider screen just got a lot of wheel spin there. Jordan Love got a very good start in the white AGI car, moving across to the inside.
St. Goddard was rolling at the very beginning of that race, so he might be due for a penalty. And I'm also hearing that the race leader has been given a 5-second penalty, just like race 1. So Jordan Lloyd, who has a 2.7-second lead, needs to keep going and hope that there are no safety cars here. Good battle further back in the pack. We've got Lewis Leeds.
Look at this, 3 wide.
This is good stuff.
Gretsch is going to have to get out of that.
Oh, there was a touch.
Tag, Lewis Leeds turns in and
gets the fence. And that could be the safety car that Jordan Lloyd was hoping not to see.
Just turned in a little bit tight there. And he made the right call because he would have ended up straight into that tyre barrier. So it was a very last-minute decision to turn left to see if he can get off. And look at Tom Randall trying to find a way. No, he's beached that up on the curb. So I'm not sure if that's actually hit the wall there, Chad, but you can see the left front wheel up off the ground. So the car's actually bottomed out. And unfortunately for Lewis Leeds, who had not put a foot wrong all weekend, he's going to be stuck there. So I'd say that that'll be covered by yellow flags in that particular section. Here's a replay.
So Gretsch had the inside, and it was Hayek who moved over, and there was contact for Lloyd, for Leeds once or twice. Riding on board here with Tom Gretsch. Watch for the touch over the left-hand side. Hayek moving over. Wasn't quite clear, and big contact there.
Yeah, so that I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Gretsch has a bent steering arm out of that.
Oh, and that was him trying for grip later in the lap. Still struggling.
A fair bang of wheels. Look, it was just, we were worried about 3 cars going into that tight corner, and couple of reasons. I think that contact there with Hayek didn't help. And then Tom Gretsch maybe not quite up the inside, but it was still a good move. And unfortunately, Lewis Leeds was the man hung out to dry on the outside.
Leeds was third in the first ever race. Not bad for a 15-year-old. We go on board with another 15-year-old, Zane Goddard, who needs a couple of stabs to get it turned through 5. Want to give that curb plenty of room at 6. These cars don't quite handle the curbs like a V8 supercar. And Goddard, who we're riding on board with, is about to get a 5-second penalty too. That gets added at the end of the race, so he needs to pass the cars in front of him and try and gap them.
So the rule at the start is you have to be stationary when the light goes out and either on that red grid line or behind. He was over the line and rolling, unfortunately, so pretty clear jump start. Doesn't help when you have an onboard camera on either.
No.
You can't hide with that.
Guilty. 2 onboards here. We're riding, looking back to the right-hand side of Tom Gretsch's car. He's struggling big time. He's got Frankie Maiolo out of Gawler in South Australia following him, and Gretsch is limping after that earlier contact with Lewis Leeds.
So Nick Rowe and Will Brown currently both on 46 points. So they're tied for second for the weekend at the moment, and that would revert to whoever finishes higher in this last race. And they're both battling for 5th and 6th. So the battle's on for the second step of the podium at the moment. And Jordan Lloyd looking comfortable out in front, a 4-second lead. But remembering, at the moment, that would actually put him back to 4th with the 5-second time penalty.
Yeah, he needs to keep pushing at the moment and hope that that gap opens up, and to be fair, it's doing that. A safety car will just about ruin that. Oh, Gretsch is mega sideways through 6. He has big-time issues. Oh, and a big-time bomb and contact. And around he goes. And can he get that car moving off the grass? We're riding on board with him when the contact was made. Goddard gets it back on.
So he was a fair way up the inside of Frankie Maiolo there. You can see the right front wheel was up to the side pod. Here's the external shot. And Frankie's turned in quite aggressively there. And look, actually very, very good evasive action by young Zane. You'd say, watch here, he got a really good run out of the corner, makes a decisive move straight up the inside. And unfortunately, Frank's just probably turned in a little bit aggressive. And yeah, a little bit more racing room, and they would have both got through there side by side.
This is how it looked off Tom Gretsch's car, by the way.
No big damage.
And there's something to discuss a bit later on for Mark Rundle as the 2 teammates make contact and the safety car has been deployed. So safety car on the racetrack. Now, Lloyd, after making that earlier contact, has been doing this everywhere, just sliding around. Look at that for a shot.
Who says an open wheeler with wings and slicks doesn't slide around? Great little catch there for Tom Gretsch. I'd say he definitely has some bent steering out of that contact with Lewis Leeds earlier. So we just can't see why the safety car is out.
It was a massive slide, that one, but he did a good job to hang on to it, but he is having some dramas. So the Lexus safety car is out. We've seen it in all 3 races so far. Jordan Lloyd is the leader, but he needs to win the race by 5 seconds.
There's the green flag, so maintain 80 kilometres an hour until you see the green flag, and then the leader can accelerate. No overtaking before the control line. So Rich is going to go with him here. Here's Will Brown, defending as best he can.
And Maiolo trying to make, actually Goddard trying to make up a few spots off the back. Still going on between Randall. So this is further back in car number 14. And on for a podium here at the moment is Nicholas Rowe. He's actually fighting with Harry Hayek. Hayek on his best race result this weekend as well. And Rowe trying to consolidate what's going to be a fairly solid second position on the podium. It's a combination of points across the 3 races. And if Randall can get around Will Brown, Brown should still get onto the podium, but will definitely be 3rd outright for the weekend.
Look at that gap. He's clearly put his head down. Jordan Lloyd, he made the most of that restart. Thomas Randall going up the inside of Will Brown. Smart move by Will, although he let Jordan Love through as well. So got to be careful there. You don't lose too many spots. He's certainly going into conservation defensive mode to keep that podium spot. But he's got to be careful that Drew Ridge doesn't steal it from him.
Now, Jordan Lloyd has bolted here, but I think this is going to be time certain given the fact that we had such a long delay there. So we might not even get that last lap in. It'll be very close if we do. Rowe under brakes. No. He's looking very pacey at the moment. Lloyd, Ridge, Vernon, your top three, and then this battle for four. He's got a good exit here, but hey, it covers.
Nick Rowe, he's all over him, isn't he?
What a super talent Nick Rowe is. Went over to Las Vegas at the age of 15, took out the World Tag Championship, beating David Serra in the process, and anyone who can beat Serra in a go-kart is talented.
Absolutely, that guy's won some national championships. So Nick Rowe, as I mentioned on the formation lap, only drove this car, sat in it for the first time, practice one on Friday from Karratha in WA. He spent 12 hours flying here. So Karratha, Perth, Brisbane, Townsville, did a seat fit at 9 o'clock, and he's going to come out on the podium. Great effort.
And that's after he was racing in Taiwan the week before
last weekend.
And then Indiana last month as part of the Indiana Speed Week Racing Speedway. So he's been all around the place. Plenty of frequent flyer miles.
I was going to say that, actually. So this...
we'll get the last lap
final lap? Yes, we will. So we've just snuck in on the time certain rule in the regulations.
He needs to find 2.5 seconds in one lap. This is either going to be something very special from Jordan Lloyd or very spectacular. He really needed Vernon to go to battle with Drew Ridge to open up that 5-second lead. Let's see how far or how close he can get and how many more spots can Randall get here, because he's caught the back of the young West Aussie Nick Rowe. Be Ridge's best finish too. Great job inside the top three.
And Jimmy Vernon too, after a lot of damage to that car yesterday in the Tool Force entry. Really good comeback. They were, he's certainly wanting to take the fight to this championship, and he was leading yesterday, unfortunately taken out. So it's a good comeback for him to get inside the top three.
This is building here, Randall. We know he's confident under brakes. He has 2 more braking opportunities to try and do it. But this is the man out front. 3.2 seconds the lead. He needs to find another couple of those seconds with 2 corners to go. It looks unlikely. So the race winner will more than likely be Drew Ridge.
First time in Australian circuit racing anyway for Drews, and a little bit in Asia. Let's see, it was a 16.9, another lap record. So Lloyd a 16.7, smashes his lap record. And what does he win by?
3.4 seconds. It's not enough. Ridge gets there. 3 race winners in the one weekend, but Lloyd wins the war though. He will step onto the top step of the podium. He will fall back to 3rd in the race, so Vernon should get promoted to 2nd. And I believe he'll do enough to just beat Nick Rowe for the overall spot on the podium. That was exciting stuff. Jordan Lloyd first to the finish line, but not getting the gap he needed, which means Drew Ridge should be promoted to 1st. Jim Vernon will get a solid 2nd place finish after what happened to him yesterday. Remember, Goddard also has a 5-second penalty, so he will also likely drop back behind at least Tom Gretsch. Maybe, no, he might get away with that one, but that was an extremely exciting final race of the weekend in Formula 4.